Hi, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And we're coming to you with this breaking news, Friendo Club Wrestling. Man, this seems to be happening. Yeah, I like the noise. This seems to be happening a little bit now. We had the CM Punk news like a couple weeks ago, and now we've got what seems to be a report that WWE is being bought by Endeavor, the parent company of the UFC, and the WWE is going to be raw-gated. They're going to be merged with the UFC to become their own publicly traded company. What's going on
Correct.
here?
So this comes to you from CNBC, and as mentioned, Endeavor, as CNBC puts it here, is in advanced talks to procure themselves World Wrestling Entertainment. CNBC says a deal can be announced as soon as Monday. I assume they mean tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And you mentioned publicly traded company, UFC to be merged together. Endeavor is going to own 51% of the stock of this new company. The remaining 49% will be owned by WWE shareholders. As far as the corporate structure, Ari Emanuel, who is the CEO, I believe, of Endeavor, will remain in that role. Vince McMahon is expected to be executive chairman. And then Dana White will remain as president of the UFC. And then Nick Khan will remain as president of WWE. According to the CNBC report, this deal would give WWE an enterprise value of $9.3 billion.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of money right there.
That is a lot of money.
I mean, that seems to be what Vince McMahon wanted, to have WWE basically be sold as like the priciest, I don't know, outpriced UFC by more than double.
Yeah, a lot.
But what's the interesting bits about, number one, I think to a degree, a bit of a sigh of relief that this isn't going to the Saudi Public Investment Fund, as had been rumored and then debunked like a couple months ago. Endeavor, who just recently said we're not interested, we had both said that's what they would say. That's what they would say.
That's what they said during the UFC deal.
Right, exactly. So not a shock. I think a welcome surprise. And one reason why I know people think, oh, Vince McMahon, executive chairman, I would really find it difficult to believe, even though there have been reports, of course. I think PW Insider issued a report yesterday in the aftermath of Mania Night 1 that Vince McMahon was on a headset, communicating with wrestlers and whatnot, being executive chairman, but with Nick Khan involved as the president, might be a buffer between Vince McMahon and the creative aspect of things, the deeper minutia of the creative aspect.
And here's one aspect of Endeavor buying WWE that is encouraging as far as continuing on kind of the status quo, hopefully as it exists now, is that when they bought UFC, I don't believe they really did anything to clean house. At least in the upper management. Now, depending on what amount of power that Vince has as executive chairman, and whether he is actually looking to find a way to regain day-to-day control over creative like he did or not, we don't know that. It's seemingly, based on how Endeavor handled the purchase of the UFC, would seem like that the structure that kind of exists now with the WWE would, assuming this is what Vince wants, continue to exist. And by that, I mean Triple H would still be in charge of creative. And I think us as fans, whoever buys WWE, that's kind of what we want to remain. We don't want Triple H to lose that spot. Whether the company's bought or not. We don't want Vince taking over creative again, because on a day-to-day basis, it's not as good.
No, it's pretty bad when he does that. It's also kind of interesting. Although Vince will be the executive chairman of this company, there's still, I believe, a parent company involved. He wouldn't be the absolute top of the food chain when it comes to this, so to speak, endeavor within Endeavor, because it would be their company that they're running. He would be executive chairman of the wrestling aspect of it. And so he would have to answer to somebody. If he does decide to show up and start acting crazy with all sorts of HR violations going on, he's going to have to answer to somebody. That's not going to just pass muster. And on top of that, there is still the matter. I mean, for all we know, and this is, again, from the total outside looking in, for all we know, his executive chairmanship might last 15 minutes, given there's still info that hasn't been publicly released about other issues with him and, all the scandal stuff that's been going on. So that remains to be seen. You got to think that he's probably going to be on best behavior and maybe just saying, oh, well, I did what I did here I did what I set out to accomplish. And now I'm up here in the big office, not going down there and making people wait 3 hours outside my office for us to come up with a wrestling gimmick.
Yeah.
So, I would be kind of surprised if we saw a lot more of Vince meddling. Yeah, I know that he was just at WrestleMania. This is pure speculation on my part. It could be very well that he's like, well, this is the last time that I'm going to have the ability to really do this, unless he really wants to come down from the executive chairman position to start managing a wrestling show. And maybe he will, and maybe I don't know. But you would think that at the very least, he's not the end all be all now. He's got people above him.
Yeah. I guess one aspect of this deal that could give one pause is we had heard earlier, I think, or last week, I think Nick Khan was asked about the prospect of WWE and Peacock perchance adopting a pay-per-view model similar to the UFC's that they have with ESPN Plus. So in short, you got to pay to get ESPN Plus. On top of that, you got to pay a hefty sum to get the UFC pay-per-views. Now, if this is a deal with a high dollar value behind it, Endeavor's going to find ways to get that money back.
Sure, absolutely.
And if they think of the next TV deal, if the best way to do that is to adopt a similar model for WWE premium live events, that could be a bummer, because not only are you paying $5 or $10 a month for Peacock, you got to pay $50 or $60 a month on top of that for the pay-per-views.
Yeah, I hate to put on my my capitalist hat, but I think that there's a good possibility that's going to happen. The thing about the WWE Network and even in Peacock, it's a ridiculously good value proposition. Yeah. Like when they started out, they really undervalued their product. They went from $60 pay-per-views to $10 a month, and you get everything, including all other pay-per-views and the entire library, which they were stocking. Those were good days.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like with the amount of buzz that WWE is generating these days, with the ability that they have to generate the interest that they have, it wouldn't shock me if they went to a pay-per-view model. I mean, look, you could be upset about that, and you can load our comments up with, I'm not paying for pay-per-views. A lot of people will. So that's a definite possibility.
Yeah, it is a possibility. And if interest in WWE remains high and the quality of the product remains consistent, there'll be some people that it might be an issue to pay that extra $60, but I don't think it's going to be a situation where en masse people are going to leave the product if they've got genuine interest in it. So
look, to their benefit, to Triple H's credit, they have made every pay-per-view under his regime must watch. Elimination Chamber used to be considered a B pay-per-view. They had Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns there. SummerSlam, everybody wanted to tune in and see what he was doing. I know there's been others I can't think. Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, it's a fun show.
Immense buzz behind it.
That was a fun show. Even like Extreme Rules was fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So interesting to see how this will pan out. Interesting to see what happens tomorrow if this is an announcement made in advance of Raw. You would think it would be, given that these things probably would happen during the business day.
You would think so. And, during a weekend when not just the world of wrestling, but to a certain extent, the world of entertainment has their eyes on WWE's product. If there's probably the ideal time to announce this, it's probably in this window right now they have, which, would go from last Thursday to the end of Raw, probably.
You got to give it up to whomever, Vince, Nick Khan, whatever. I mean, it's similar to, and I know that was a bit more on the coincidental side, but you go back to 2001 when they acquired WCW during WrestleMania season. It was like a week before WrestleMania. So yeah, it is interesting that they seemingly have found the ability to time these things pretty darn well. We're at a WrestleMania where, they're probably going to claim all sorts of new records for trend, reach and engagement
and money earned, money made,
money earned, sponsorship money earned. We saw the the cereal guys out there and the Prime bottle out there,
and Intuit, or
TurboTax into it, yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, and the thing is, and you're right, man. I think that actually brings up a good point. With all the money they have coming in, and now with this huge deal, how will that change the landscape of? Ooh, excuse me, my phone just did a thing. How will that change? Oh wow, the Wall Street Journal has it. Oh wow, Wall Street Journal. WWE's nearing a deal to be sold to Endeavor. Yeah, so that's a big deal, and it's probably true. How will it affect the landscape of the wrestlers? Is this new regime going to be, remaining? Is AEW going to be able to remain competitive, or are they going to be able to blow AEW out of the water when it comes to amassing talent? How is it going to affect NXT Europe? Is that still going to be a thing? Are they going to be trying to do the global localization thing? How much of that is going to fall under, Triple H, Nick Khan? I know that there were rumors about, potential buyers being interested in Stephanie McMahon because she was very much loved within the company. Is that a possibility now that Vince McMahon won't be the top guy in charge? A lot of questions here.
Yeah, there are most definitely, and we'll have more tomorrow on the Monday podcast as news presents itself, and we might even get confirmation and official announcement of this deal by the time we go live tomorrow at noon Pacific. So
entirely possible. Absolutely. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for this news brief. We will be watching night 2 of WrestleMania live at the other channel, the podcast channel, going in Raw, YouTube/Steven Larson. And then, of course, also the It's Tway, twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Oh, don't tell YouTube. I just said that word. Good. I got a It's Tway in my eye. That's what.
Oh gosh, that's what it is.
Anyways, hit that sub button, hit that like button. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.